My name's Chris O'Leary. I'm one of the owners of Kenson Plastics. We're here in the lobby where we sort of have an homage to the industries that we serve. So we do a lot of aerospace work and aerospace seating, so that's why we have a plane. We also do a fair amount of mass transit work, so that's the front end of a bus. And then here we have an X-ray machine just to represent the industry where we do a fair amount of medical device work. And we'll head out into the plant. Now we're entering a space that we call our tech center, which is principally engineering and quality. So along this line is where we program the CNC machines. And then along the outsides are the quality support personnel. And in this area is where we do 3D scanning and 3D printing, where in 3D scanning we are doing basically complex dimensional inspections, and then 3D printing we can do tooling and fixturing in support of production. And now we're going into our thermoforming department. So on this machine, this is called a rotary thermoformer, where it's kind of unique, where you are loading and unloading a part while one is heating up and while another part is forming. So this is for a higher volume application. Now we'll go look at a part form. In this case, this is a single station thermoformer, and Dave's gonna show us how it works. Now we have a finished form part that's in support of the aerospace industry. And we'll head over to the other side of forming where we'll see some larger medical device parts. And now we're in the large section of our thermoforming where you see the machines are sunken into the floor. That allows for a larger depth of draw because there's deeper movement of the machine to make big parts like this. So in this application, there are large undercuts, so big pieces need to move in the tool. These are moved hydraulically. And then ultimately, this part will next go to machining to get cut out around prior to assembly processes. And now we're entering the machining area where the parts get trimmed out. In this case, this part just was cut out and it will be heading to the assembly operation next. In this example, we purchase these sheet metal components and we ultimately bond that to a plastic component to make the final assembly that will go directly to our customer. Do various projects. In this case, that's a business class bezel for an airline. And then here we're going to get to a place where we're working on an economy seat where we have some sequential assembly of the first step. Some things are being bonded in, more components including metal being bonded in, and then ultimately getting to the final assembly, which is multiple parts that we make as well as parts that we purchase that the customer will ultimately put directly onto the seat. From this step, parts are going to go into assembly final inspection, so that's what's happening at these workstations, and ultimately to assembly package. So what you've seen up to this point is our primary assembly area, and where we're heading now is a new area that's being developed for more assembly and specifically starting to incorporate robotics into assembly. What's going to happen here is the robot will come and do abrasion on the part that will facilitate adhesion of ultimately what will be Velcro pieces that go on the part. So the first thing the robot does is it sands in the area where the thing will be located, and then it will turn around and mark with a marker the location where the adhesive needs to be at. So now we're in our medical device assembly area where we're doing paint prep for a diagnostic machine. Also doing some amount of assembly of medical components. Passing through the warehouse where we store all of our molds. Most important thing there is to be able to find them when you need them. So we have a barcoding system that allows us to keep track of them. Now we're entering our paint department. So in this area, we do all of our paint prep. And so get the parts ready, tape them off, and then they'll be painted in the paint booths. And now we're entering the mold shop. And what happens here is we get molds in from outside suppliers, and we'll do some of the finer details of vacuum drilling and assembly to get it ready to go into the process.